Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone for teaching us his truth. Salutations to the sincere Akim and Aqua that may listen. May the blessing of election bring you over your house. My name is Brother Okwai. I'm back in here with another quick lesson. And for today's lesson, I want to be just quickly going through a little bit of history about Israel, and couple that with some precepts, and Yahweh Ratazah. This will be an edifying lesson, right? So the title for today is "Caught Between a Rock and a Hard Place," right? So what inspired this lesson was just a quick walk and talk I was doing with one of my elder brothers in the camp, and I was just breezing through a couple precepts, and I came across this exact quote in a book I was reading, and the book is called Babylon and Timbuktu, right? And I just wanted to put together something, and hopefully this would be edifying, right? So what I want to do is quickly read the excerpt from Babylon and Timbuktu, right? And it's kind of going into a quick account. As a matter of fact, let me just give for those who may not know what this phrase actually means. Okay, this is what caught between a rock and a hard place is, right? So if you look at this image right here, let's see if I could just expand on this, right? So right here you have a guy in the middle, and you have like two two strong forces in between him, right? So for the sake of this lesson, the guy in between represents the nation of Israel, right? And these two opposing forces would be like the different nations that we were surrounded by, right? So so on one side, for example, you have the Egyptians, and you have Egypt, and then on the other side you have these other nations like Assyria, right? So, and that's one of the examples of the other nations that I want to get into in Second Kings, right? Under a righteous king named Hezekiah, right? So that's just to paint a little visual of what's what the things I want to bring out, right? So so what I want to do quickly is to go into the excerpt, and then I want to bring out the account, right? So this is, let's see. Okay, so this is page 72 in the book Babylon and Timbuktu, right? And I'm just going to read a quick chapter, and it reads this. During the long history of the Middle East, there have always been wars between the military powers north of the land of Israel by the way of Syria, and the military powers south of Israel, and that in brackets it has Egypt, right? So here it says Israel was the here, I'm not sure what language this is, but it just has in a nutshell, it says Israel is the egg between the hammer and the anvil, right? So, just like the image I was just bringing out, it was it's the exact same thing, right? And that is as a matter of fact, let me just continue, and then I want to um, provide commentary, right? So here it says, in the time of Ahaz and Hezekiah, kings of Judah, Assyria and Egypt were the great powers. Both these powers had threatened the independence of the little state of Judah, but with the help of the Most High, she survived. The prophet Isaiah had told King Ahaz to stand still and do nothing. In other words, it says, in other words, Isaiah meant do not make any alliances with Assyria or Egypt, but trust in the God of Israel, right? So that's why I want to end it off right here. And so let's get that account really quickly. As a matter of fact, I want to read it in the BLB. So just bear with me 1 second, right? Okay, so this is Second Kings 19, and I want to start at verse 32, but there's a little bit more to the story, so I'm just going to keep it. I don't want to make the lesson too long, right? So here it says, I'm going to read it in the NLT, and it reads, "And this is what the Lord Yahweh says about the king of Assyria. His armies will not enter Jerusalem. They will not even shoot an arrow at it. Uh, They will not march outside its gates with their shields, nor build banks of earth against its walls." Verse 33, "The king will return to his own country by the same road which he came. He will not enter the city, saith the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai." Right? So prior to this account, I'm just bringing out because it's a lengthy account, and I don't want to make the lesson too long. Hezekiah actually pleads with the Lord to actually help him in this situation, right? And that is one of the things that our people neglect to do, right? Because they think that even to this day, it's the same exact mentality which goes on today. Because our people, we rush to seek help from, these other nations. We wish to seek help in some other sort of way without relying upon Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, right? And then we get entangled into these different messes, right? So what I want to bring out, continuing on here, is the outcome of what it actually transpires when Hezekiah actually, prayed and actually relied upon the power of the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, right? So verse 33, it reads, "The king will return to his own country by the same road which he came. He will not enter this city, saith Lord Yahweh." Verse 34, "For my own honor, um, and for the sake of my servant David, I will defend this city and protect it." And verse 35 and reads, "That night the angel of the Lord Yahweh went out to the Assyrian camp and killed 185,000 Assyrian soldiers. When the surviving Assyrians woke up the next morning, they found corpses everywhere." Right. So, and that's what it says in the NLT, but in the KJV it says 5,000. It says, okay, 5,000 and wait, 104 and 5,000, which is about, so that's 5,000 and four scores. So that's, a score is 20. So that's 80. So that's a lot of people, essentially, right? But, it seems like the NLT is giving a lot more here. But continuing on, and it says, "Then the king Sennacherib of Assyria broke camp and returned to his own land and went home to his capital of Nineveh and stayed there." Verse 37, and it reads, "One day while he was worshiping in the temple of his god Nisroch, his sons Adremelech and Sharezer killed him with swords." Oh, geez. And continuing on, it reads, "They then escaped to the land of Ararat, and another son, Esar Haddon, became the next king of Assyria," right? So, this is what happened when, this is the outcome of what happened when, Hezekiah actually relied upon the Lord, right? And, just to back up a quick point that I made earlier, um, about, the mindset of our people when we choose to actually kind of seek help, and they try to go up another way, essentially, right? So this is John chapter 10 verse 1, and it reads, "Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that enter he that entereth not by the door into the sheepfold, but climbeth up on some other way, the same as a thief and the same is a thief and a robber," right? So we're not supposed to. This goes to the mindset of the us Israelites, especially in the world, that try to climb up another way as opposed to actually coming to the aid of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, because our people have a very because our people don't know who they are, discontinuing from their heritage. They don't know who their power is, right? So let me just get a couple more precepts quickly. Okay, so this is Isaiah chapter 30, verse 1, and it reads, "Woe unto the rebellious children, saith the Lord Yahweh, that take counsel, but not of me, that cover with a covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin," right? And that refers to a lot of our people, that what they like to do is to try and take on a covering, but they don't take on the covering of Yahweh Bashim Shai. They take on a covering of all these different customs, and listen to all these different leaders as opposed to listening to the Lord and hearken unto the prophets, the men on the highways and the byways, right? That actually tell them, hey, you're doing X, Y, and Z, you're not supposed to do that, right? That's why they say, that's why it says in Proverbs, in a day of judgment, when judgment actually strikes, the Lord through his prophets going to laugh at their calamity, right? Because he's stretching out his hand to actually try and help you, but our people, 2/3 of our people, are not going to listen, right? Verse 2, and it reads, "That walk down into Egypt and have not asked of my mouth, to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh, and to trust in the shadow of Egypt. Therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and trust in the shadow of Egypt your confusion," right? And that's very, very important. And the modern day Pharaoh is likened unto these elites and these Edomites, right? Because what was actually transpiring in the last couple years, you had the whole pandemic, and then you had their their lethal injection, if you know what I'm saying, if because they were pushing that very, very heavy. And what happened, it caused a lot of our people to actually submit, take it. And now after what is about 3 years after now, we actually are seeing the after effects of trusting in this trusting in Egypt, essentially, right? Because where we are is likened unto a spiritual Sodom in Egypt, right? Let's get a similar precept. So this is Isaiah chapter 31, verse 1, and it reads, "Woe unto them that go down to Egypt for help, that stay on horses and trust in chariots, because they are many, and the horsemen, because they are very strong. But they look not unto the Holy One of Israel, neither seek the Lord," right? So this is just very important to keep in mind, because when we're going through our afflictions, and even when we're doing well, especially, right? We also want to remember to actually seek up the Lord's hand, not seek up you know, the hands of these different nations, because trusting in them would be our downfall, right? When you think, I was actually watching a video of one of the other brothers on his page called GMS Watchman, and one of the comments that was made in the video was like a short clip of a documentary, and it said about um, the so-called Native Americans, the Gadites, entered into approximately over 300 treaties with these Edomites, and what happened to them. Every single one of them was broken, right? So, scriptures say, this is what happens when you trust your enemy. You're not supposed to. As a matter of fact, let me get that really quickly. Uh, it's Rock. Oh, okay, Sirach 12 and 10, and it reads, Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Right? So, scriptures clearly say that, but our people don't want to listen to the prophets and they don't want to listen to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, right? So that's going to be their shame and their downfall, especially when, they bring their MOTB and all these different devices that they're laying out for our people, right? That trust is going to be going to bring them shame. What I want to do is get Psalms. Let's get Psalms 94. Okay, this is Psalms 91. I'll read down to verse 4. Okay, it says, He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. For I will say of the Lord Yahweh, He is my refuge, my fortress, my power, in Him will I trust. Surely He shall deliver me from the snare of the fowler and from the noise and pestilence, right? And, that also includes these different devices, that Satan lays out, their counterparts, these Edomites and these elites, right? And one of these different devices is this MOTB that they're setting up, verse 4, and it reads, He shall cover thee with his feathers, and under his wings thou shalt thou trust. His truth shall be thy shield and thy buckler, right? So that's the armor that we equip ourselves with, when we go about through our day to day, right? So that keeps us protected from these different devices that Satan has laid out, um, wherever we go, right? So anyways, I didn't want to make this lesson too long, but Yahweh Rataza, this video was edifying, and it's just something I just wanted to bring out, and I thought it was very, very interesting. And I'm just going to close up, and I'd just like to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakadash, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone for teaching us the truth. Until next time, I say Shalom.